So we are in Orange County, California, as you can see, with the drunk LAPD Sergeant Carlos Coronel. And you know how you hear something or you read something and you're like, what? And you get to reading and it always asks more questions than it answers. And then you get to digging. And then before you know it, we're on another episode of What the Hell? Yeah, that's where we're at right now. So let's see what's up with the Sergeant Carlos and where we go from here.
An LAPD police sergeant has been arrested by authorities in the OC accused of hitting and killing a pedestrian with his vehicle while under the influence of alcohol and then driving off.
Orange County Bureau Chief Chip Yost is live in Santa Ana with some details for us. Hi, Chip.
Yeah, hey there, Glenn and Lou. Yes, an LAPD officer has been accused of killing a 19-year-old man in a DUI hit and run. That 19-year-old lived here in Santa Ana.
Hit and run. Hit him and left. Seems like there'd be more charges.
Just spoke to his family, who are still working their way through their grief in this case. Let's take a look at a picture of the young 19-year-old who was killed in this. You're looking at a picture of 19-year-old Emmanuel Salvador Gonzalez. His friends call him Manny. On Saturday at about 4 in the morning, he was in Tustin near Nissan and Del Amo when police say a car struck him. Police were called about a person down in the street over there. They got there, and that's when they found Gonzalez in the street. He was killed in that accident, but according to the LA Times, the car didn't stick around. The car took off, and it was later determined the car was driven by an LAPD sergeant. Let's show you some video from court this afternoon of that LAPD sergeant, Carlos Coronel. He was arrested, according to the LA Times, at Newton Division. According to the Times, hours after that accident Saturday morning, he went to work at Newton Division, and that's where he was arrested. We're still waiting for confirmation on all of that from some of the different agencies involved, but according to the Times, that's where he was arrested. Some searches we did of the Orange County court system.
And you know how, like, you'll see a story like this and you think to yourself, there has to be more? There is.
System showed today that he has a previous DUI back in 2011. He was arrested by the CHP in Buena Park, was put on probation in that case. The reason he was in court today was not because of what he was arrested for over the weekend. The DA still hasn't made a filing decision in the weekend case where that young man was killed. He was in court today and in custody for a probation violation stemming from that 2011 DUI case. A little bit earlier, we spoke to the brokenhearted stepfather of the young man killed. Here's a little bit from him.
He's everything to me. He's my world. He's a very lovable kid, very respectful. You know, he never gave us problems. He's just the most sweetest boy in the world.
The LAPD put out a statement that says the Los Angeles Police Department
This is total bullshit.
is committed to upholding the highest standards of integrity, professionalism, and accountability.
They're not. Okay. He had a DUI in 2011. It was it triggered a warrant in 2012, but they're going to tell you they had no way to know about it.
We do not tolerate misconduct of any kind,
Lie.
and any violations of department policies or the public trust are taken seriously. All
Incorrect.
allegations of officer misconduct are thoroughly investigated, and appropriate action is taken to ensure accountability.
Accountability. He had a open warrant from 2012. This is February of 2025.
Our commitment is to serve and protect the community
Incorrect.
with fairness, respect,
Nope.
and transparency. Now, as far as that court hearing earlier today, it appears that he was sentenced to, I believe, and we have to go back and double check this. I was watching it online, but it sounded like he was sentenced to 30 days in jail for the probation violation. He got some credit for time served, but from what it sounded like, he will be in custody at least for the next several days. During that time, it's possible charges could be filed by the DA's office in this other case. We're trying to clarify a lot of that at the moment because we're all getting this information within the last hour or so. But for now, reporting live here in Santa Ana, I'm Chip Yost, KTLA 5 News.
Chip, thank you.
Thank you, Chip. And you know how I say, next time you see them, they will have killed somebody? That's where we're at. He had a previous DUI, and they'll tell you, well, we had no way to know. Also, I would like to note, this says, LAPD sergeant arrested after hit and run crash that killed Orange County teen, and it further says Orange County prosecutors declined to file charges against a sergeant from the Los Angeles Police Department who allegedly drove away from a deadly crash this weekend. This is the next day, February 5th.
Heartbreak in Orange County tonight. A 19-year-old killed in an alleged hit and run. The suspect, an LAPD sergeant. KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers at the desk now. Mike, this case takes an even more unbelievable turn.
Yeah, Pat, this really is a very, very strange case. We've been working on it all day, and we just heard from the family of the man that was killed. You'll hear from them in just a second. But I want to talk to you about this LAPD sergeant that was arrested for this. The Tustin Police Department arrested him for murder, but we've learned about a very troubling past, including the fact that he has been out on a warrant for 12 years. We're talking about, you're seeing on your screen right there, a previous DUI conviction. In 2011, he was convicted of DUI, misdemeanor DUI in Orange County. In that case, he pleaded no contest. In agreement to plead no contest, he was ordered to serve 129 hours of community service. We have learned he never served those 129 hours. I've gone through the court records. He has been in a warrant status since 2012. All the while,
there's been a warrant out for his arrest since 2012. But how's a police department supposed to know that?
Still serving on the LAPD, still an active LAPD sergeant. In fact, according to the LA Times, he was arrested at LAPD's Newton Station after this alleged DUI hit-and-run crash in Tustin over the weekend that left a 19-year-old dead. Pat, tonight I was able to get some images and pictures and video of that 19-year-old. You're looking at it on a screen here. His family tells me he went out for a walk that night. Last thing he told his stepdad was, "I love you, I'll be right back." His family says he never came home after that crash. The LAPD sergeant is accused, but not yet charged, of hitting him. That's how we found out about this whole story. He was arrested by the Tustin Police Department. The Orange County DA rejected the case, saying they want more evidence before they move forward with any kinds of prosecution. Now, when I called the DA's office, they said he was in court. And I said, well, how can that be if you haven't charged him yet? They said because he was in a probation violation, because he was technically on probation at the time of his 2011 DUI conviction. And again, prosecutors and court records confirm he never did the community service he was ordered to do and has had an active warrant for his arrest since 2012.
So he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and something triggered a warrant. That's funny, because you're going to hear in a minute where the guy says he don't know. He don't know how that happens.
10 years he has been wanted for this case while serving with
the probation chief will tell you here in a minute.
The LAPD. Tonight, I had a chance to ask his mom, his stepdad, how they feel about all of these developments.
If he's a cop, he's supposed to be protecting the people.
Nope, the Supreme Court has already put that to bed. They have no duty to protect you.
Instead, he took my son's life. What kind of person is he? You know, I don't understand. I mean, if he had what you said is that he had a previous record or what he did, how come he's still running around the street?
Tonight, we did reach out to the LAPD. Jim McDonald, the new chief of the LAPD, said, quote, "There is no tolerance for criminal behavior within this department, and I want to assure the community that we will continue to cooperate with the Tustin Police Department and the Orange County District Attorney's Office as their investigation continues."
And they all get the same cookie-cutter crap to say it's all total bullshit. 12 years there was an open warrant for his arrest.
Pat, the big question tonight, how was this officer, or sergeant rather, who had an active warrant for his arrest for 10 plus years, able to still serve in the department without anybody knowing? Well, we looked into it a little bit. Privacy laws almost prohibit LAPD from running warrant checks on their department.
Privacy laws prohibit LAPD from running warrant checks.
His arrest for 10 plus years, able to still serve in the department without anybody knowing. Well, we looked into it a little bit. Privacy laws almost prohibit LAPD from running warrant checks on their department employees.
Never even ran a warrant check on an applicant. These people can take your life with pretty much impunity. They're not even running warrants. In North Carolina, they run you for wants and warrants. They do background check. They do criminal history check. They do credit check. You got to put like 20 references down. They talk to each one. Bitch, they will go 9 states over and talk to your 3rd grade teacher. If you live there, if you lived out of state. They do all of it. Polygraph tests. They do the whole 9 yards. This is total bullshit.
without a valid reason. So really, it seems like it might fall back on the Orange County Probation Department, who in theory is responsible for following up on people that have been sentenced after a court case. I did reach out to the Orange County Probation Office to figure out how this fell off their radar and how an LAPD sergeant, who obviously they knew where he was on the department of is on the job for his first arrest back in 2011, how they didn't go after him in all of those 10 plus years. We've not heard back, Pat. We're going to continue to follow up with them, regardless, though, a family without their 19-year-old son tonight.
Yeah, so tragic, Mike. But yeah, that question certainly needs to be answered.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Heartbreak.
So, let's go talk to the probation chief. Here we are.
Tonight, we continue to follow the story of an LAPD sergeant accused of hitting and killing this 19-year-old in Tustin over the weekend. Police say he was under the influence and took off from the scene before eventually being arrested at an LAPD station.
Well, Mike Rogers is here at the desk. And, Mike, you uncovered this sergeant had an active warrant for 12 years for a prior DUI conviction. And tonight, you're getting more clarity on how a police officer was able to have a warrant for more than a decade without getting caught.
Yeah, Pat, it's really been the big question is how is this guy able to be out there on the streets, patrolling the streets with an active warrant for his arrest? So I want to review some of the information with you. This guy was arrested in 2011 for a misdemeanor DUI. That part's important because he was placed on informal probation and ordered to do community service. So what happens next? Well, he doesn't complete his community service, and in 2012, a warrant is issued for his arrest.
So that was enough to trigger a warrant. Okay, gotcha.
If a warrant is issued for his arrest, why did nobody go get him? Well, it's because he was on informal probation. That means this guy, who's the probation chief for Orange County, is not in charge of him, doesn't have to monitor him, isn't asked to monitor him, and has no correlation with him. So whose job is
I'm confused about what the point is.
it to go get him when he has a warrant? Well, really, nobody. I asked the chief about that today.
The state has systems in place to notify law enforcement agencies when an employee gets arrested, but not necessarily if a warrant were to get issued, like in this case.
Well, it seems like if there was a notification that he was arrested, some questions would have been asked.
Something you think should change? Should the court be mandated to notify people when there's a warrant? I mean, I know this is such a specific case because we're talking about a law enforcement officer, and obviously it's not feasible. Not everybody has jobs and somebody to tell that to. But in a situation like this, should there be a reporting system?
There appears to be a gap in the system, so if I think that could be a possible solution, especially for law enforcement agencies. I myself as well, I would want to know if I had an employee in that situation. Again, we take it upon ourselves to monitor those cases if we had a situation like that, but of course it would be another layer of safety to make sure something like this doesn't happen.
Yeah, now as I told you guys
Or another layer of government to fuck it up.
Last night, the court is the one that ordered the warrant, but the court has no enforcement branch. They have no mechanism to go enforce that warrant and make...
Wait, so what you're trying to tell me is in LA, you can go just run amok, commit all kind of crime, don't go along with the program, don't go to any court, anything, and they don't have any way to execute a warrant that might be put out for your arrest? No. If it's you, trust and believe, they will come and find you. Not so much the thin blue line. I'm finding that extremely hard to believe that the courts don't have any way to go pick you up on a warrant.
An arrest. Now, certain police agencies do have warrant squads or warrant divisions that will go out and get people that have acted.
Yeah, most places it's called the sheriff's office. They execute warrants.
But the probation chief tells me they've got to prioritize the higher priority cases.
Exactly what I just said. They will come get. The Blue Line gang members, not so much.
And in this situation, this was a first-time offense, a misdemeanor charge, and it probably just wasn't on anyone's radar. And because it was informal probation, they were not under the supervision of the probation department, something that the chief says is a necessary part of our justice system, informal probation.
Then how did he have a probation violation? Confused about that? Earlier, he had a probation violation that triggered the warrant.
Is important, but it says, as you heard from him, seems like there's a gap in the system when it came to this case.
And it sure is getting a lot of attention.
Yep.
All right, Mike, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, it's getting a lot of attention because it's total and absolute bullshit. There's mechanisms in place. Trust and believe. If it's anybody but government, they will come and get you. It's bullshit. And again, you can't make this up. Anyway, let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Also, I forgot to say it at the beginning. 85%. I know we're down to 85% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. You got your phone in your hand, you're at your laptop, click the button, and we'll move along. Let me know what you think about this one, and I am out.